Aloha mai kākou. O au no keia o kaulalani mai ke kula o kulani a kea, me ka hua o lalo ka pule. The Hawaiian word of the week is keiki. Keiki translates as child, offspring, descendant. There is a nolala no eo, a Hawaiian proverb that says, he lei poina ole ke keiki. A lei never forgotten is a beloved child. We are reminded that keiki are living expressions of the continuity between the past, present, and future. When we invest in them with intention and aloha, we ensure that what is never forgotten is the child, along with the values, language, and knowledge they carry forward. Ahui ho I keia puleae. See you all next week for another Hawaiian Word of the Week.